I don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe it's a warning. Maybe I just need someone to believe me. I don't even know if I'll be alive by the time you read this. It started with a story. A stupid creepypasta I found online. You know, those made-up horror stories people write to scare each other. I used to love reading them late at night, scrolling through forums, looking for something that could actually creep me out. But I never believed in them. Not really. Until one found me. The story didn't have a title, just a single post buried in an old thread from 2011. It was about a nameless entity that lived in the space just beyond your sight. It didn't have a shape, at least not one that made sense to human eyes. It watched, it waited, and it only came for those who read about it. Typical internet horror, right? I laughed it off, but then I scrolled down. At the bottom of the post, there was a message in bold. By reading this, you've let it in. It knows you now. Do not look for it. Do not acknowledge it. If you do, it will follow you forever. That part made me pause. I had seen stories like this before, with their cheap scare tactics. But something about this one felt wrong. There were no comments, no upvotes, no replies, as if no one had ever dared to respond. Or worse, no one had been able to. I shut my laptop, feeling stupid for letting it get to me. But that was the moment I heard it. A faint, rhythmic tapping. It was coming from the window. I live on the 3rd floor. My stomach turned to ice. I stayed perfectly still, listening. The tapping came again, soft and deliberate. Tap, tap, like fingers against the glass. I didn't want to look. Then, my phone screen lit up. A message. No number, no name, just one word. Look. I threw my phone across the room. My body was rigid with fear, my mind screaming that this wasn't real. It couldn't be real. But I knew, deep down, I had already broken the rule. I acknowledged it. I spent that night curled up under my covers, waiting for the sun to rise. When morning came, everything seemed normal. My phone was back to normal. No message history. The window? Nothing but my own stupid reflection staring back at me. I almost convinced myself I imagined the whole thing. Then I went to work. The office was busy as usual. Phones ringing, keyboards clicking, people moving. But then I noticed something strange. Every time I looked up, someone was staring at me. Not just glancing. Full-on, unblinking stares. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. But then one of them, an old man by the elevator, smiled. His mouth stretched too wide, showing too many teeth. I rushed out, barely able to breathe. On the train home, it was worse. I could feel them, watching, following. Even when I closed my eyes, I saw shapes in the dark, twisting, shifting shadows that didn't belong. That night, I locked every door, every window. I left every light on. I told myself, if I didn't acknowledge it, it would go away. Then, At exactly 3:33 a.m., my phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but I did. A photo of me, asleep, taken from inside my room. I couldn't breathe. My heart was slamming against my ribs. My bedroom door was still locked, but I wasn't alone. I could feel it. The air was thick, heavy. A shadow moved in the corner of my eye. I turned, too fast, just in time to see something slipping into the darkness. I wanted to run, to scream, but I couldn't move. My body felt paralyzed. I couldn't even close my eyes. And then, the whisper came, right against my ear. You looked. I must have passed out, because the next thing I knew, it was morning. My room was normal again. My phone was gone. The only proof was a single bloody fingerprint on my bedsheet. I tried to tell myself it was a dream, stress, a hallucination. But deep down, I knew the truth. I let it in. And now, it won't leave. Everywhere I go, I see them. People staring, smiling too wide. I hear the tapping at my window, even when there's nothing there. My phone rings in the middle of the night, but I never answer, because I know what it wants. It wants me to look, and if I do, I don't think I'll come back. If you're reading this, don't make the same mistake. Don't search for the story. Don't look for it. And whatever you do, don't turn around.
Story number 2.
I don't have much time. It's getting closer. I need to tell you what happened before it finds me again. Maybe if I put this into words, it'll stop. Maybe it won't. It all started with a dare. You see, I never believed in ghosts. Not really. But growing up in a small town, there wasn't much to do except scare ourselves with dumb urban legends. And in my town, there was only one story that mattered: the Hollow Man. According to the legend, he lived in the abandoned house at the edge of town. Not really a man, not really anything. Just a hollow thing, wearing the shape of a person. It didn't speak, it didn't move. It just stood in the window, watching. And if you knocked on the door 3 times at midnight, it would knock back. No one knew what happened if you knocked a 4th time. No one was stupid enough to try. Until me. I was with my friends, Evan, Jake, and Claire. We had been drinking, laughing, daring each other to do stupid things. That's when Jake brought the Hollow Man, he whispered, his face lit up by the glow of his phone screen. Bet none of you have the guts to knock. Evan laughed. Claire rolled her eyes. But me, I wanted to prove I wasn't afraid. So we went. The house was exactly as I remembered. Rotting wood, shattered windows, a gaping hole in the roof, like a mouth frozen mid-scream. The air was still, heavy, the kind of silence that presses against your skull. I stepped up to the door. My heart pounded in my ears. My friends stood behind me, whispering, giggling, waiting. I knocked, once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the house like a gunshot. The laughter died. We waited. Nothing. Jake let out a breathy laugh. Guess it's just a story. Then it came. A knock. From the inside. We ran. I don't remember screaming, but I must have. I don't remember getting back to my car, but suddenly, we were peeling down the road, too afraid to look back. We should have left it alone. We should have never gone back. But the next morning, Claire was gone. Her mom thought she was with us. Her phone was still in her room. Her bed was perfectly made, as if she had never slept in it at all. The only thing they found was a single bloody handprint on her bedroom door. We were in shock. None of us spoke about what happened at the house, but we all felt it. Something had followed us home. That night, I woke up to the sound of knocking. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it again. Slow, deliberate. I reached for my phone. 3 a.m. I tried to ignore it, but then my bedroom door creaked open. Something stood in the doorway. A shadow, tall and thin, its face lost in the dark. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just stood there, watching. My throat closed. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was frozen. And then, as if it knew, it took a step forward. My phone vibrated in my hand. A message. No name, no number, just 2 words. Knock 4. I wanted to throw my phone. I wanted to close my eyes and pretend this wasn't happening. But then, I heard it again. The knocking. From inside my closet. I don't remember what happened after that. I must have blacked out, because when I woke up, it was morning. My door was open. My closet was empty. But I wasn't alone. There was something new on my wall, scratched into the paint. 1 word. Hollow. Jake disappeared the next night. Then, Evan. Now I'm the only one left. I hear knocking everywhere I go. My windows, my doors, even my mirror. I don't sleep anymore, because I know what happens when you knock 4 times. And I know what happens when it knocks back. If you hear it, whatever you do, don't open the door.
Story number 3.
I don't know if anyone will believe me. Hell, I barely believe it myself. But if you're reading this, please, whatever you do, never answer a call from your own number. It started 2 weeks ago. I was home alone, scrolling through my phone when it rang. My number. At first, I thought it was a glitch, maybe a scam. But curiosity got the better of me. I answered. Silence. Hello? I asked. For a moment, nothing. Then I heard it. Breathing. Slow, raspy, like someone struggling to inhale. My own breath hitched, and that's when I heard something that still makes my skin crawl. My voice. It whispered, "Don't let it in." I hung up immediately, my pulse hammering. It had to be a prank, some kind of weird tech issue. But as I stared at my phone, something changed. My reflection in the screen. It wasn't moving. I tilted my head. It didn't. I blinked. It didn't. It just stood there, staring back at me with wide, empty eyes. Then it smiled. I dropped. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard it. My own voice whispering from the dark. I thought about smashing my phone, but something told me it wouldn't matter. Because it wasn't in the phone anymore. It was in my house. The next day, things got worse. My reflection, mirrors, windows, even the back of a spoon would lag behind me. I'd turn away, then glance back, and it would still be staring, watching. Then the texts started, from my number, "Let me in." I ignored them. Then my doorbell rang. My stomach clenched. I wasn't expecting anyone. I checked the peephole. It was me. I stood outside my own door, smiling too wide, not moving, just waiting. My phone buzzed. Another text. "Let me in." I backed away from the door. My other self started knocking. Harder, faster, until it wasn't knocking anymore. It was pounding. The whole door shook. Then the handle started turning. I ran to my room and locked the door. The pounding didn't stop. It didn't speak. It didn't shout. Just kept trying to get in. Then, suddenly, silence. Hours passed before I dared to come out. The front door was wide open. And my phone? A single new message. "See you soon." I haven't seen it since, but I know it's still here. I hear my own footsteps behind me when I walk home. I see glimpses of my face in places it shouldn't be. Sometimes I wake up in a different room than where I fell asleep. And last night, my phone rang again. My number. I didn't answer this time, but I know, sooner or later, I will. And when I do, I don't think I'll be the one who hangs up.
Story number 4.
I know I'm going to die tonight. It's not paranoia. It's not some nightmare I can wake up from. It's real. And I know because I made a mistake. A mistake I can't undo. I played the whisper game. You've probably never heard of it. At least, I hope you haven't. It's one of those old urban legends that no one really talks about anymore. A game passed around in hushed tones. A challenge only idiots like me would actually try. The rules are simple. You sit in front of a mirror at exactly 3:33 a.m. with the lights off and a single candle burning. You close your eyes, count to 10, and whisper, "Come find me." Then you wait. If you hear nothing, congratulations, you're safe. You won. The game is over. But if you hear a whisper behind you, the game has begun. I was drunk when I tried it. That's my only excuse. My friends dared me, and I laughed it off, saying it was just another stupid internet hoax. But I was wrong. That night, I set up everything exactly as instructed, sat in front of my bathroom mirror, candle flickering, the whole place swallowed in darkness. I closed my eyes, counted to 10, and I whispered, "Come find me." For a moment, nothing. Then, a breath, right against my ear. I turned so fast, I nearly knocked over the candle. But there was nothing there. Just cold, empty silence. That should have been the end of it. But when I looked back at the mirror, my reflection was still facing away. I froze. My heart pounded so hard, I thought I was dying. I lifted my hand. My reflection didn't. It just sat there, its back still turned, as if something else was sitting in my place. Then, slowly, it started to turn around. I blew out the candle and ran. I told myself it was a trick of the dark, my imagination. But since that night, things have been wrong. My reflection lags behind me. I move, and a second later, it follows. Sometimes, I catch it watching me when I shouldn't be looking. Other times, I see it smiling when I know I'm not. And then, last night, I woke up to find my bedroom mirror empty. My reflection was gone. My phone buzzed on my nightstand. A message from me. Found you. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop it. But I know it's coming for me. And when it does, I don't think I'll be the one in the mirror anymore.